The dinner party was supposed to showcase Dad's promotion to regional vice president. He'd invited his new boss, 3 senior executives and their spouses. The dining room table was set with Mom's good china, the kind we weren't allowed to touch growing up. Candles flickered and wine bottles lined the sideboard, their expensive labels facing outward. I was 24 and still living at home while saving for my own place. I'd been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 16 and managed it carefully with insulin and regular blood sugar checks. But tonight something was off. I had miscalculated my dinner insulin dose, already stressed about being on display for Dad's colleagues. By 8:30 I was feeling wrong, shaky, sweating. I checked my blood sugar in the bathroom, 52. Dangerously low. I needed glucose fast. I returned to the dining room, interrupting Dad's story about closing a major deal. Dad, I need some juice. My blood sugar's low. He glanced at me, irritation flashing across his face. There's juice in the kitchen. Help yourself. I'm feeling really dizzy. I don't think I can. Michael. He cut me off, using my full name the way he did when he was angry. We have guests. Go to the kitchen and handle it quietly. I made it to the kitchen, but my hands were shaking so badly I could barely open the refrigerator. I grabbed the orange juice and tried to pour a glass. The carton slipped, juice splashing across the counter. Mom found me leaning against the sink, the room spinning. Michael, what's wrong? Blood sugar, it's really low. I can't. She got me juice and made me drink it, but I was dropping fast. 52 was already dangerous. By the time the juice kicked in, I might be unconscious. I need to lie down, I said. I think I need to call my doctor. Let's get you to the couch in the den, away from the party. But when we walked back through the dining room, I stumbled and grabbed the doorframe. Dad's boss, a man named Richard, noticed immediately. Is he all right? He's fine, Dad said quickly. Just had a bit too much wine earlier. I didn't have wine, I said, my words slurring slightly. I'm diabetic. My blood sugar. Upstairs. Now. Dad's voice was steel. I tried to walk. Made it 3 steps. Then my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the carpet. The room erupted. Mom screaming my name, chairs scraping, voices overlapping. Get up. Michael, get up right now. I couldn't. The world was tilting, darkening. Voices blurred. Should we call an ambulance? Richard asked. No, he's fine, Dad snapped. He's being dramatic. He does this for attention. Michael, stop this right now. You're embarrassing me in front of my boss. Robert, he's not moving. Mom cried. His lips. Oh God, his lips are turning blue. He's faking. Dad insisted. Get up, Michael. This is ridiculous. Someone shook me, but I couldn't respond. The darkness closed in, the terrifying slide every diabetic fears. I'm calling 911, a woman said, one of the executive's wives. Don't. He's fine. He's done this before. Last month he had the flu and was dehydrated, Mom shot back. This is different. Then everything went black. Mom told me later what happened. They tried to stop the woman from calling 911, insisting I was faking. But she called anyway. The paramedics arrived in 6 minutes. My blood sugar had dropped to 38. They gave me glucagon and started in 4. Dad kept saying I was exaggerating, that I always wanted attention. One of the paramedics, a middle-aged woman named Patricia, told him flatly I was minutes from a diabetic coma, that waiting any longer could have killed me. They transported me to the ER. I woke up hooked to monitors for in my arm. Mom sat beside the bed crying. Dad paced near the door on his phone. Their doctor, Dr. Sanchez, came in after I was stable. He looked at my chart, then at Dad. Your son was in severe hypoglycemia. Blood sugar was 38 when paramedics arrived and dropping fast. Another 5 minutes without treatment and he would have slipped into a coma. Another 10 and we'd be having a very different conversation about brain damage or death. Dad crossed his arms. He's diabetic. He knows how to manage it. He should have checked his blood sugar before dinner. I did check, I said weakly. I miscalculated my insulin. It happens. That's why I told you I needed help. You interrupted my dinner party. Dr. Sanchez stared at him like he was speaking another language. Sir, your son nearly died tonight. Do you understand that? I understand he has a tendency to exaggerate his symptoms for attention. There is nothing exaggerated about a blood sugar of 38, the doctor replied sharply. If a guest hadn't called 911, your son would not have woken up. Dad said nothing. Mom sobbed harder. Robert, she whispered. He could have died. He could have died in our dining room while you told people he was faking. He's fine now. That's what matters. Dr. Sanchez shook his head. In 20 years as an ER doctor, I've never seen a parent dismiss a life-threatening medical emergency because it inconvenienced them socially. Are you criticizing my parenting? I'm documenting what happened tonight. Your son asked for help. You denied it. A guest had to intervene to save his life. Yes, I'm documenting all of it. They kept me overnight. Mom stayed. Dad left after an hour, said he needed to salvage what he could of the evening and make apologies to his guests. The next morning Mom drove me home. Dad was already at work. When he came home that evening he didn't ask how I was feeling. He told me the dinner party was ruined, that Richard left early, that the executives spent the rest of the night worrying instead of networking, that I cost him professionally. You nearly cost me my life, I said. Don't be dramatic. You're fine. That was the moment something broke. Not loudly, but a quiet snap of the last thread holding me to the idea that my father cared about me more than his image. 2 weeks later I moved out. I moved into the apartment and took on extra work to afford it. Mom helped with the deposit, secretly. Dad said I was being ungrateful after everything they'd done for me. I saw Mom regularly. Dad I avoided. Over the next 3 years I built a life. I got a better job in tech sales, then a promotion, then another. I was good at sales, good at building relationships, good at reading people. The skills you develop as a child trying to manage a parent's ego translate surprisingly well into managing clients. I bought a small condo, then sold it and upgraded to a larger one. The tech market was booming. I invested well. By the time I was 30, I had enough to put a down payment on a house in Riverside Estates, a gated community on the north side of the city. The house had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool and a detached guest house in the back. It was more space than I needed, but it was an investment. Property values in Riverside were climbing fast. Mom was proud. She visited often, always on weekdays when Dad was at work. She never told him where I lived. The distance between my parents had become obvious. They slept in separate rooms, spoke to each other with cold politeness. Then last month Mom called. I'm leaving your father. What? I should have done it years ago, after what happened with your diabetic attack. After watching him dismiss your near-death experience as embarrassing, I should have left then. Her voice was steady, resolved. But I'm doing it now. I found an apartment. I'm moving out this weekend. Does he know? He will. I'm telling him tonight. Dad didn't take it well. According to Mom, he was shocked, couldn't believe she would actually leave. He insisted she was being dramatic, that she'd come back in a few days. He didn't. The divorce was quick and uncontested. Mom didn't want anything except her retirement account and her car. Dad kept the house, the furniture, everything else. He thought he'd won. But without Mom's income, without her managing the finances, Dad struggled. He had always been careless with money, spending to maintain appearances. Expensive dinners out, new cars every 3 years, country club memberships. 2 months after Mom left, Dad lost his job. The company restructured. His position was eliminated. He was 58 with a large mortgage and expenses he couldn't cut fast enough. He burned through his savings in 3 months. He couldn't find another job at his salary level and started missing mortgage payments. The bank foreclosed 6 months after Mom left him. Mom told me all the secondhand. She felt guilty but relieved. I should feel worse about it, she said. But he made his choices. He chose his image over everything real. Dad tried calling me once. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail, asking for money, saying he was going through a rough patch. I deleted it. Last week, I was having coffee on my balcony overlooking the front of my property and the gated entrance to Riverside Estates. I saw a car park on the street outside the gate. An old sedan, dirty, stuffed with belongings. A man got out. Older. Thinner. Rumpled clothes. Took me a moment to recognize Dad. He walked up to the gate's call box and dialed my house number. My phone lit up with his name. I didn't answer. He stood there 5 minutes, then returned to his car. The next day he came again. Same spot, same routine. Called the box. I didn't answer. He sat in his car for an hour before leaving. This went on for a week. He was living in that car, parking outside my gated community, hoping I'd see him, hoping I'd answer. Finally, he left a voicemail. Michael, it's Dad. I know you're there. I've seen your car in the driveway. I need help. I've been sleeping in my car. I lost the house. Lost my job. Your mom won't help me. I need a place to stay. Just for a little while. Just until I get back on my feet. I know you have that guest house. I saw it from the street. Please, Michael. I'm your father. That evening, I stood on my balcony watching his car outside the gate. He was in the driver's seat, phone pressed to his ear, calling me again. My phone rang. I didn't answer. From up there, I could see everything. My house, my pool, the guest house in back, empty and furnished. And outside the gate, Dad sat in his car, surrounded by everything he owned, reduced to begging the son he once called fake. The son whose near death he dismissed as an embarrassment. Mom called that evening. He's been contacting everyone. My sister, your cousins, anyone who might give him money or a place to stay. Everyone's saying no. He's parked outside my house. I know. He told my sister he's going to camp out there until you help him. Pause. Michael, you don't owe him anything. You know that, right? I know. That night at the dinner party, he chose his image over your life. He called you fake while you were losing consciousness. He told the paramedics you were being dramatic. He cared more about impressing his boss than whether you lived or died. I remember. So you don't owe him anything. Not money. Not shelter. Not a second chance. He was right. I knew she was right. But the guest house was empty. 300 square feet of heated, furnished space that nobody used. And outside my gate, my father was sleeping in a car. The next morning, I walked down my driveway to the gate. Dad saw me immediately, stepped out of his car and walked to the bars separating us. Michael, thank God. I know we've had our differences, but I'm your father. I need help. Just the guest house, just temporary. I'll pay you back when I find work. I looked at him through the bars. Thinner than I remembered. Older. The sharp edges of arrogance worn down to desperation. You called me fake, I said. You told people I was exaggerating while I was going into diabetic shock. You said I was embarrassing you while I was dying. I made a mistake. I was stressed about work. I didn't understand how serious it was. The doctor told you I was 5 minutes from a coma. And you still said I was being dramatic. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I should have listened. I should have helped. But that was years ago. Are you really going to punish me forever for one mistake? It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was who you are. You've always been. Image over substance. Appearances over people. So you're going to leave me on the street? Your own father. I thought about the night of the dinner party, collapsing on the floor, Dad's voice booming. Get up. You're embarrassing me. The darkness closing in. The paramedic who saved my life while Dad insisted nothing was wrong. I thought about the guest house. Empty and waiting. Yes, I said. I'm going to leave you exactly where you are. Because you left me on the floor dying while you worried about impressing your boss. You made your choice that night. This is mine. I turned and walked back up the driveway. He shouted after me something about family, obligation, decency. I went inside, closed the door and returned to my balcony. He stayed in his car all day. Left at sunset. Came back the next morning. I stopped looking out the